Ethan Cole stood in the parking lot, car keys gripping tight in his calloused hand, staring at the warm glow spilling from the restaurant windows. Every instinct screamed at him to turn around, drive home, forget this whole stupid idea. He'd already typed out the cancellation text 3 times. But then the door opened and a woman with kind eyes and an uncertain smile stepped into the light, searching the faces around her. Their eyes met across 20 feet of asphalt in autumn air. In that single moment, everything Ethan thought he knew about his carefully controlled life began to crack wide open. He pocketed his phone. Some nights, you can't run from fate, even when you've spent years perfecting the escape. Before we dive into this story of unexpected love, hard choices, and second chances, do me a favor. Drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see just how far this story travels, and if it moves you, hit that like button. Now let's begin. The autumn evening carried that particular kind of cold that settles into your bones and makes you question every decision that brought you outside. Ethan Cole sat in his 10-year-old pickup truck, engine idling, watching couples drift in and out of Marcello's Italian restaurant like it was the easiest thing in the world. Laugh, touch, belong to someone. He checked his phone again. 6:47 p.m. 13 minutes until he was supposed to meet a complete stranger for dinner. "This is insane," he muttered, running his hand through dark hair that badly needed a cut. Absolutely insane. The text from his sister sat at the top of his messages, still glowing with her relentless optimism. "You're going. No excuses. Her name is Lena. She's normal. Please, Ethan, just try." Normal. As if normal women wanted to date single fathers who smelled like motor oil and had the romantic skills of a carburetor. Ethan had already composed 3 different cancellation messages. The first one was too detailed, the second too apologetic, the third just pathetic. His thumb hovered over the send button on version 4. Something came up with Noah. Rain check? It wasn't even creative. Noah was at his grandmother's house, probably elbow deep in her famous chocolate chip cookies, perfectly content. But it was plausible. People understood when you had a kid. They expected you to cancel, to prioritize, to eventually just stop trying. He'd almost hit send when movement caught his eye. A woman emerged from a silver sedan 3 spaces over, pausing to adjust her coat against the wind. She had shoulder-length brown hair that caught the parking lot lights, and she moved with the same hesitant energy that currently paralyzed him, like someone bracing for disappointment. She glanced around the parking lot, checking her phone, clearly looking for someone. Their eyes met. For exactly 3 seconds, neither of them moved. Then recognition flickered across her features. Not the kind that comes from knowing someone, but the kind that comes from hoping you found them. Ethan's phone slipped from his hand onto the passenger seat. She smiled. Uncertain, tentative, but genuine. And she started walking toward the restaurant entrance. "Damn it," Ethan breathed. He killed the engine, grabbed his jacket, and forced himself out of the truck before his brain could supply another 100 reasons why this was a terrible idea. The cold hit him immediately, but he barely felt it. His heart hammered against his ribs as he crossed the parking lot, his work boots loud against the pavement. The woman had reached the restaurant entrance and was standing just inside the glass doors, scanning the interior. Ethan pulled the door open, and she turned. Up close, she was prettier than he'd expected. Not in the intimidating way that made him feel like he'd shown up to the wrong venue, but in a way that felt real. Warm brown eyes, a spattering of freckles across her nose, smile lines that suggested she used them often. She wore a simple navy dress and a cream-colored coat, and she clutched her purse strap like it might anchor her to reality. "Ethan?" she asked, her voice carrying a slight tremor. "Lena?" Her smile widened and some of the tension left her shoulders. "Oh, thank God. I was starting to think I'd been stood up, and I was trying to figure out how to leave without it looking like I'd been stood up, which is ridiculous because the hostess definitely knows I've been standing here for 5 minutes looking desperate." She stopped herself, pressing her lips together. "Sorry, I ramble when I'm nervous." Something in Ethan's chest loosened. "I almost didn't come," he admitted. "I was sitting in my truck composing the world's worst cancellation text." Lena's eyes widened. "Really?" "I almost turned around twice on the drive here." They stared at each other for a beat, then both laughed. Awkward, relieved sounds that cut through the tension like light through fog. "So," Ethan said, "since we're both here against our better judgment, Maybe we should get a table. That seems reasonable. The hostess, a young woman with a knowing smile, led them to a booth near the back. The restaurant hummed with the comfortable noise of Friday evening diners. Silverware on plates, low conversation, occasional laughter. Soft jazz played from hidden speakers, and the smell of garlic and fresh bread filled the air. Ethan slid into his side of the booth, suddenly hyper-aware of his calloused hands and the faint scent of mechanic soap he'd scrubbed with 3 times before leaving. Lena settled across from him, setting her purse aside and unfolding her napkin with careful precision. "So," she said, picking up her menu but looking at him over the top of it, "your sister is Sarah, right? She works with my friend Claire at the hospital?" "Yeah, pediatric nurse. She's been trying to set me up for about 2 years now. Claire's been working on me for 6 months. I finally caved because she threatened to create an online dating profile for me herself, and I've seen her taste in men. It's questionable." Ethan grinned. "Sarah told me if I didn't show up tonight, she'd start bringing women to my garage during work hours. I have a reputation to maintain." "Mechanic?" Lena asked. "Own a small shop on the east side. Cole's Auto Repair. Nothing fancy, but it pays the bills." "That's impressive. Running your own business." He shrugged. "It's more like the business runs me most days. But I like it. Working with my hands, solving problems. Cars make sense, they break, you fix them, they work. Clean logic." "Unlike people," Lena said softly. "Unlike people," he agreed. Their server appeared, a cheerful man in his 50s who rattled off specials with practiced enthusiasm. Ethan ordered something he didn't quite catch, too distracted by the way Lena's eyes crinkled when she smiled at the waiter's joke about the chef's obsession with oregano. When they were alone again, Lena folded her hands on the table. "So, full disclosure, Sarah probably told you I teach 2nd grade?" She mentioned it. "Did she mention that I once accidentally locked myself in the supply closet during a fire drill and had to be rescued by the janitor?" Ethan laughed. "That didn't make the briefing." "Well, it happened. The kids thought it was hilarious. I'm still Miss Brooks who hides from fire to half of them." She paused. "Your turn. Embarrassing disclosure." He considered. "Last month I was under a Chevy Tahoe when my air wrench slipped. I rolled out from under the car yelling words I definitely shouldn't say, and a customer's very religious grandmother was standing right there. She prayed over me for 10 minutes. Lena covered her mouth, eyes dancing. "She didn't. She absolutely did. Asked for blessings on my troubled tongue and my clearly difficult life. I didn't have the heart to tell her I was just having a bad day." "That's amazing." It was mortifying. They grinned at each other, and just like that, the awkwardness began to dissolve. The conversation found its rhythm. Easy questions leading to unexpected answers, small revelations that built something fragile but real between them. Their food arrived. Ethan had apparently ordered chicken marsala. Lena had some kind of pasta that looked significantly better than his choice. "Want to trade bites?" she offered, already twirling pasta onto her fork. It was such a simple gesture, but something about it felt significant, intimate, like something people who trusted each other did. "Yeah," he said. "Yeah, okay." They ate and talked, and the restaurant filled and emptied around them without Ethan really noticing. Lena told him about her students, about the kid who brought his pet turtle for show and tell, and how it escaped and caused chaos for an entire afternoon. She talked about her family, her father who still lived in her hometown 3 hours north, her mother who'd passed away 5 years ago, the garden she was failing spectacularly to maintain. "I killed a cactus," she confessed. "I didn't know that was possible. It's supposedly the one plant you can't kill, and I managed it." "What happened?" "I think I loved it too much. Overwatering. My neighbor said I drowned it with good intentions." "That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. It had a funeral and everything, just me and a very judgmental succulent I'm now terrified to touch." Ethan found himself laughing more than he had in months, maybe years. There was something about Lena, the way she didn't take herself too seriously, the way she listened with her whole attention, the way she didn't flinch when he mentioned Noah. Because he did mention Noah. Had to. It was the truth that ended most of his attempts at dating before they started. "I have a son," he said, somewhere between the entrees and dessert. "Noah, he's 6. Lena didn't miss a beat. "Sarah mentioned him. She said he's smart. He's, yeah, he's incredible. Ethan pulled out his phone, found his favorite recent photo, Noah grinning gap-toothed at the camera, holding up a model car they'd built together. He's obsessed with anything that moves, cars, trains, planes. We're working our way through every vehicle known to man. Lena took the phone, studying the picture with a soft smile. He has your eyes. Poor kid. They're good eyes, she said, handing the phone back. Honest. The words settled between them, weighted with meaning. His mom? Lena asked gently. Not prying, just asking, leaving space for him to answer or not. She left when he was 8 months old, Ethan said. The old wound barely ached anymore, worn smooth by time and repetition. Showed up at the garage one day, said she couldn't do it anymore. Motherhood, relationship, small-town life, any of it. She signed away her rights, moved to Seattle. Sends a card on his birthday sometimes. I'm sorry. Don't be. She made her choice. I made mine. Noah's everything to me. That's clear, Lena said. The way you talk about him. That's love. Yeah, well, Ethan shifted, uncomfortable with the exposure. He makes it easy, even when it's hard. Single parenting can't be simple. It's not. But my mom helps a lot, lives 10 minutes away, watches him when I need her to. And Noah's, he's a good kid. Patient with me when I screw up, which is more often than I'd like. I doubt that. You haven't seen me try to help with homework. My second-grade math skills are apparently obsolete. Lena laughed. They changed everything. Common Core is designed to confuse parents. I'm convinced. Thank God it's not just me. They ordered coffee. Shared a piece of tiramisu that Lena insisted on even though Ethan protested he was full. The restaurant had emptied significantly, only a few tables still occupied, but neither of them seemed to notice or care. Can I ask you something? Lena said, scraping up the last bit of dessert. Sure. Why did you almost cancel tonight? Ethan considered lying, deflecting, but those warm eyes were steady on his, and something about this woman made him want to be honest. Because I'm tired of disappointing people, he said finally. I'm a package deal, you know, me and Noah. And most women, they say they're okay with that. But they're not really. They want the version of me that doesn't have to leave dates early for soccer emergencies or can't do spontaneous weekend trips because I have a kid. They want someone simpler. Lena set down her fork. And you assumed I'd be the same. I assumed you deserved someone simpler. That's not your decision to make, she said, but not unkindly. What I deserve, what I want, those are my choices. Fair point. For what it's worth, Lena continued, I almost canceled because I'm tired of being the backup plan. The nice girl who's perfect on paper but somehow never quite enough in reality. I've been the placeholder between relationships more times than I can count. That's insane. Ethan stopped himself. I'm what? You're easy to talk to. Funny. Real. Any guy who made you a placeholder is an idiot. Pink colored her cheeks. That's kind of you to say. It's not kind. It's accurate. The server appeared with their check, and Ethan reached for it automatically. Lena's hand shot out at the same time, and their fingers brushed over the leather folder. We can split it, she said, or I could get it, and you could get the next one. The words were out before Ethan could stop them. Presumptuous. Assuming there would be a next time, but Lena's smile could have lit the whole restaurant. Deal, she said. They walked out together into the cold night. The parking lot had emptied considerably, their vehicles now isolated under separate lights. Ethan's truck looked particularly beat up next to her sensible sedan. So, Lena said, pulling her coat tighter. This was really good, Ethan finished. Unexpectedly good. Yeah. They stood there, neither quite ready to leave. The wind picked up and Lena shivered. Without thinking, Ethan stepped closer, blocking the worst of it with his body. Thank you, she said softly, looking up at him. For coming tonight, for not canceling. Thank you for the same. Maybe we could do this again? I mean, if you want. Yes, Ethan said quickly. Definitely yes. Her smile was worth every moment of anxiety that had preceded this night. I should warn you, Lena said. I'm not great at playing it cool. If I like someone, I tend to show it. Text too much, probably. Get invested too fast. It's a character flaw. Or a character strength, depending on perspective. You say that now. I mean it. They exchanged numbers, fingers fumbling with cold and nervousness. Ethan walked Lena to her car, waited while she started it, and let it warm up. Through the window, she waved, and he waved back, feeling absurdly like a teenager. He waited until her taillights disappeared before walking to his truck. The interior was freezing, but Ethan barely noticed. He sat with his hands on the wheel, a stupid grin on his face, replaying the entire evening. Her laugh, the way she'd stolen bites of his dinner, how she hadn't flinched at the word son. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number, already saved as Lena, made it home. Thanks again for tonight. I had a really good time. Ethan typed back, same. Really glad I didn't cancel. Her response came immediately. Me too. Talk tomorrow? Tomorrow, he confirmed. The drive home took 15 minutes. Ethan spent all of them replaying conversations, remembering details. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was thinking. How her eyes went soft when he talked about Noah. His mother's house was lit up when he pulled into the driveway. Through the window, he could see her and Noah at the kitchen table, probably finishing up a game or a puzzle. Normal. Safe. His whole world in one warm room. Ethan climbed out of the truck and headed inside. His mother looked up when he entered, reading glasses perched on her nose. Well? Well, what? Ethan bent to scoop up Noah, who'd launched himself from the chair with a shriek of, Dad! How was the date your sister bullied you into? Noah pulled back, eyes wide. You had a date? With a girl? I had dinner with a friend, Ethan corrected, shooting his mother a look. A friend who's a girl, his mother said innocently. That you met for the first time tonight, at a romantic Italian restaurant. Nana says that's called a date, Noah informed him seriously. Nana talks too much. His mother laughed. So? Don't leave me in suspense. Ethan set Noah down, ruffling his hair. It was fine. Fine? That's all I get? It was good. Really good. Happy. Deliriously. She stood, gathering her purse and coat. The boy's been fed. Homework's done. He beat me at checkers twice. You're all set. Thanks, Mom. She kissed his cheek. You deserve good things, sweetheart. Don't forget that. After she left, Ethan got Noah ready for bed. Teeth brushed, pajamas on. The nightly negotiation over how many books could be read before lights out. Dad? Noah said when Ethan was tucking him in. Yeah, buddy? Did you have fun with your friend? Ethan smoothed back Noah's hair. I did. Will you see her again? Maybe. Would that be okay? Noah considered this with the seriousness of someone weighing major life decisions. Is she nice? Very nice. Does she like cars? I don't know yet. I'll have to ask. Okay, Noah said, apparently satisfied. Then it's okay. Ethan kissed his forehead. Love you, kiddo. Love you too. Downstairs, Ethan cleaned up the remnants of Noah's dinner, checked that all the doors were locked, turned off lights. The house settled into its nighttime quiet, familiar creaks and whispers. His phone buzzed. Another text from Lena. Random question. What's Noah's favorite color? Ethan smiled, typing back, red. Why? Just wondering. Sleep well, Ethan. You too. He stood in the dark kitchen, phone in hand, wondering what he'd stumbled into, wondering if he should be more careful, more guarded, wondering if maybe, just maybe, this time could be different. 3 days later, Ethan picked up Lena for their second date. Lunch at a diner that served breakfast all day and had a jukebox that only played country music from the 80s. She wore jeans and a green sweater that brought out the gold in her eyes, and she brought him a coffee without asking because she'd remembered he took it black. Small thing, huge thing. They talked for 2 hours until their waitress started giving them pointed looks and other customers needed the booth. Lena told him about her week, about the student who'd written an entire story about a superhero whose power was making really good sandwiches. Ethan told her about the customer who'd tried to diagnose his own car problem using YouTube and had somehow made everything worse. I had to completely rebuild the brake system, he said, and explained to him why videos titled Easy Car Hacks are not the same as actual mechanical knowledge. Did he pay you? Eventually. After arguing that I was overcharging because the YouTube guy did it for free, Lena shook her head. People are wild. They really are. When they left, Ethan walked her to her car again. The October afternoon was clear and bright, leaves falling in lazy spirals around them. So, Lena said, leaning against her driver's door, I have a weird question. Shoot. Would you maybe want to do something with Noah sometime? I mean, no pressure, but you talk about him so much, and he's such a big part of your life, and I'd like to meet him. If that's not too fast. If it is, forget I said anything. Lena. She stopped, biting her lip. That's not too fast, Ethan said. That's actually really thoughtful. Yeah? Yeah, he'd like that. He asked about you, actually. Wanted to know if you liked cars. She laughed. I don't know anything about cars, but I'm willing to learn. That's all he needs to hear. They made plans for the following weekend. Something casual, low pressure. Maybe the park, or the children's museum if the weather turned bad. Nothing that felt like an interview, just time together. Over the next 2 weeks, they fell into a pattern. Text messages throughout the day, photos of Lena's classroom chaos, videos Noah insisted Ethan send of the cool cars that came through the shop, phone calls after Noah went to bed, conversations that stretched late into the night about everything and nothing. Ethan learned that Lena sang in her car but denied it when caught, that she'd wanted to be a veterinarian until she realized she cried every time an animal was hurt, that she had a scar on her knee from falling out of a tree at age 9 because she was trying to rescue a cat that didn't need rescuing. Lena learned that Ethan had built his first engine at 14, that he still had the model car his own father had given him before he died when Ethan was 12, that he felt guilty sometimes when Noah asked questions about his mother that Ethan couldn't answer. You're doing everything right, Lena told him one night, her voice soft through the phone. Being there, showing up, loving him, that's what matters. I hope so. I know so. Trust me, I see kids every day. The ones who are loved, who feel secure, it shows. And from what you've told me about Noah, he's happy. That's because of you. Something tight in Ethan's chest loosened. Thank you. Just telling you the truth. The weekend they'd planned arrived with perfect fall weather, crisp air, blue sky, leaves crunching underfoot. Ethan picked Lena up early, Noah bouncing in the back seat with barely contained excitement. Is she here? Is that her? He demanded as they pulled up to Lena's apartment building. That's her building, yeah. She's really coming with us? Really, really? Cool. Lena emerged wearing jeans, sneakers, and a jacket that looked well-loved. She climbed into the passenger seat with a bright smile. Hi, Noah, she said, turning to face the back seat. I've heard a lot about you. Noah studied her with the intense scrutiny only children can manage. Do you like cars? I don't know much about them, Lena admitted, but I like learning new things. Think you could teach me? That was apparently the right answer. Noah launched into an enthusiastic explanation of the difference between engines and transmissions that was about 60% accurate and 100% confident. Lena listened like he was delivering a doctoral dissertation. They spent the day at the Science Museum, hands-on exhibits, a planetarium show, the perpetual motion machine that fascinated Noah for 20 minutes straight. Lena didn't hover or try too hard. She just participated, asked questions, laughed at Noah's jokes, held Ethan's hand when Noah ran ahead to the next exhibit. At lunch, Noah declared that Lena was pretty cool and could come with them again. High praise, Ethan told her later, after they dropped Noah at his grandmother's for a sleepover. He doesn't bestow that lightly. They were sitting in Ethan's truck in Lena's parking lot, neither quite ready to end the day. He's wonderful, Lena said. Seriously, Ethan, you've done an amazing job with him. We've done okay. Better than okay. She shifted to face him. I know this is still new, and I don't want to assume anything, but I really like this. Us. Whatever this is. I really like it too, Ethan said. It scares me sometimes, how much I like it. Because of before? Other people who didn't understand about Noah? That. And because the last time I let myself care about someone like this, she left. And I get that you're not her, but you're protecting yourself, Lena finished. And him. I get it. I don't want to hold back, Ethan said honestly, but I also can't afford to make mistakes. Not with Noah watching. Lena reached across the console, taking his hand. Then let's not make mistakes. Let's just be honest with each other. About what we want, what scares us, what we need. Can we do that? Yeah, Ethan said, turning his hand to lace their fingers together. We can do that. She leaned in, and he met her halfway. The kiss was soft, tentative, full of promise. When they pulled apart, Lena was smiling. I should probably go inside before I do something embarrassing like ask you to stay. Would that be embarrassing? On date number 6? Definitely. Is that a rule? It's my rule. I'm trying to be responsible. Ethan grinned. Okay, then I'll see you tomorrow? Tomorrow, she agreed. He watched her walk inside, waited until she waved from her window. Then he drove home through streets painted gold with streetlights, feeling like his life was expanding into something bigger, brighter than he'd imagined possible. The weeks turned into a month, then 2. Autumn deepened into early winter. Lena became a fixture in their lives. Movie nights on Ethan's couch, breakfast on Sunday mornings, helping Noah with school projects that required more patience than Ethan possessed. She fit. Not perfectly, because life wasn't perfect, but genuinely, authentically. She didn't try to parent Noah, didn't overstep. She was just there. Steady. Kind. Real. One Friday night, after Noah had fallen asleep during a movie, Lena helped Ethan carry him upstairs. They tucked him in together, a routine that had developed organically, naturally. Downstairs, Lena settled onto the couch, and Ethan sat beside her, pulling her against his side. This is nice, she murmured, head on his shoulder. Yeah. Ethan? I'm falling for you, for both of you. I thought you should know. His heart kicked hard against his ribs. Yeah? Yeah. And I know it's only been a couple months, and maybe that's too fast to say, but I don't want to pretend I feel less than I do. That's not honest. Ethan turned so he could see her face. I'm falling for you too. Have been for a while now. Her smile was everything. So what do we do? She asked. We keep going, Ethan said. Keep being honest. Keep showing up. See where it takes us. That sounds good. Sounds terrifying. That too, Lena agreed. But maybe the good things are supposed to be a little scary. Maybe. They sat in comfortable silence, the TV playing quietly to itself. Outside, the first snow of the season began to fall, soft flakes drifting past the windows. Inside, Ethan held on to something he'd stopped believing in years ago. Hope. The dangerous, fragile kind that made you believe in second chances and new beginnings. He held on to it tight. Christmas came with unexpected joy that year, the kind that sneaks up on you when you've stopped expecting it. Ethan's living room filled with the scent of pine and cinnamon, stockings hung above a fireplace that actually worked for the first time in 3 years because Lena had insisted they use it properly. Noah's excitement reached fever pitch on Christmas Eve, his small body practically vibrating with anticipation as he helped Lena arrange cookies on a plate for a visitor Ethan no longer had the heart to debunk. He likes chocolate chip best, right? Noah asked seriously, positioning each cookie with the precision of a surgeon. Everyone likes chocolate chip best, Lena assured him, sneaking one for herself when she thought no one was looking. Ethan caught her eye from across the kitchen and grinned. She stuck her tongue out at him, utterly unrepentant, cookie crumbs at the corner of her mouth. He crossed the room and brushed them away with his thumb, let the touch linger longer than necessary. You're trouble, he murmured. You like trouble. I really do. Noah made a gagging sound behind them. Gross. Can we please finish the cookies? They stayed up late that night after Noah finally crashed, assembling the bicycle Ethan had hidden in the garage for 2 months. Lena held the instruction manual while Ethan wielded tools, both of them laughing at the unnecessarily complicated diagrams. Who designs these things? Lena asked, squinting at a picture that showed part B connecting to slot F in a way that seemed physically impossible. Engineers with a sadistic streak? Pretty sure it's a test, Ethan said, tightening a bolt. If you can assemble the bike, you're worthy of parenting. Then we're crushing it, because this thing is actually starting to look like a bicycle. At 2 a.m, they stood back and surveyed their work. The red bike gleamed under the Christmas tree lights, training wheels attached, a silver bell on the handlebars that Noah would definitely ring 8,000 times tomorrow. He's going to lose his mind, Lena said softly. In the best way. She leaned against Ethan's side and he wrapped his arm around her shoulders. The house was quiet except for the gentle hum of the refrigerator and the occasional creak of old wood settling. Through the window, snow fell in thick curtains, blanketing the world in white. Thank you, Ethan said. For what? Being here. Making this feel like a real Christmas. We haven't had that in a long time. Lena turned to face him, her expression serious. Thank you for letting me be part of it. This is the best Christmas I've had in years. He kissed her then, slow and deep, tasting sugar and coffee and promises neither of them had spoken out loud yet. When they finally pulled apart, Lena's eyes were bright. I should probably head home, she said, though she made no move to leave. Let you get some sleep before Noah wakes up at dawn. You could stay, Ethan offered. Guest room's made up. Save you the drive in the snow. Is that appropriate with Noah here? You've stayed before. He thinks you're just sleeping over like when he has friends spend the night. Besides, I make really good Christmas morning pancakes. It'd be a shame for you to miss them. Lena pretended to consider. Really good pancakes? Legendary pancakes. Well, when you put it that way. She stayed. And when Noah thundered down the stairs at 6:30 the next morning, shrieking about bicycle-shaped packages under the tree, Lena was there in pajamas Ethan's mother had lent her, camera ready to capture the moment Noah saw his gift. The look on his son's face made everything worth it. Every late night, every careful assembly instruction, every penny saved. Noah's pure, uncomplicated joy radiated through the room like sunlight. Dad, look, it's exactly what I wanted. Can I ride it? Can I ride it right now? Buddy, there's 2 feet of snow outside. So? I can ride in snow. Let's maybe wait until spring, Ethan suggested, but you can practice in the basement for now. That compromise satisfied Noah enough to move on to other presents. Lena had gotten him a book about race cars and a puzzle that promised to be challenging enough to keep him occupied for days. He thanked her with the same enthusiasm he'd thanked Ethan, launching himself into her arms for a hug that nearly knocked her over. This is so cool. Thank you, Miss Lena. You're so welcome, sweetheart. Ethan watched them together, something warm and terrifying expanding in his chest. This was what he'd been afraid to want, afraid to reach for. This feeling of completeness, of family, of something bigger than just him and Noah against the world. His mother arrived mid-morning with her famous Christmas brunch casserole and enough presents to require a second tree. She hugged Lena like she'd been part of the family for years, not months, and Ethan saw his son's future in that easy acceptance, saw the possibility of holidays like this stretching forward, year after year. It should have felt suffocating. Instead, it felt like breathing for the first time. January arrived with its usual post-holiday crash, but the brightness didn't fade. Lena's toothbrush appeared in Ethan's bathroom. Her favorite coffee creamer took up residence in his refrigerator. She kept a change of clothes in his closet for mornings when she'd stayed over and had to rush to school. They didn't talk about what it meant, this gradual merging of lives. They just let it happen, natural as the season changing from winter to early spring. But underneath the easy domesticity, Ethan felt the weight of unspoken questions. Where was this going? How fast was too fast? When did he introduce words like girlfriend or serious or something even bigger that he wasn't ready to examine too closely? Noah solved the problem for him one evening in February. They were eating dinner at the kitchen table, the 3 of them together as had become routine on weeknights. Noah was describing an elaborate project his class was doing involving volcanoes and baking soda when he suddenly stopped mid-sentence. Dad? Yeah, buddy? Is Miss Lena your girlfriend? Ethan nearly choked on his water. Lena's fork froze halfway to her mouth. They looked at each other across the table, caught completely off guard. Ethan said eloquently. Well, that's because Tommy's mom has a boyfriend, and he comes to dinner all the time just like Miss Lena does. And Tommy said that means he's his mom's boyfriend. So is Miss Lena your girlfriend? The logic was airtight. Ethan searched for the right words, the right way to explain something he hadn't fully defined himself. Lena beat him to it. Would that be okay with you? She asked Noah gently. If I was? Noah considered this with his usual seriousness. Do you like my dad? I like him very much. And do you like me? I like you very, very much. And you're not going to leave? The question hit like a punch to the gut. Ethan opened his mouth, but Lena was already answering, her voice steady and sure. Noah, I can't promise that nothing will ever change, because that's not how life works. But I can promise that I care about you and your dad a lot, and I'm not planning on going anywhere. Is that okay? Noah thought about it, then nodded. Okay. Then, yeah, you can be his girlfriend. Permission granted, Lena said with a small smile. Cool. Can I have more broccoli? Just like that, the conversation moved on. But later, after Noah was in bed and they were cleaning up the kitchen, Ethan pulled Lena close. So, he said, girlfriend, huh? If the position's available, it's been available. I just didn't know if you wanted the title. I want the title, Lena said firmly. I want all of it. You, Noah, family dinners, weekend bike rides, the works. If you want that too. I want that too, Ethan said, and saying it out loud felt like stepping off a cliff, terrifying and exhilarating all at once. I want you in our lives. Officially. She kissed him, and he could feel her smiling against his lips. Good, she whispered. Because I'm already in love with you, and it would be really awkward if you didn't want me around. Ethan's heart stopped. Started again, faster. You're what? In love with you, Lena repeated, pulling back to meet his eyes. Both of you. I have been for a while now, and I know it's fast, and maybe I should have waited to say it, but I don't want to hide how I feel. Not from you. Lena, you don't have to say it back, she said quickly. I'm not expecting that. I just needed you to know. Stop talking, Ethan said, cupping her face in his hands. I love you too. So much it scares the hell out of me sometimes. Her eyes went bright with tears. Yeah? Yeah, you walked into my life and turned everything upside down in the best possible way. You love my kid like he's yours. You laugh at my terrible jokes. You make me want to believe in things I stopped believing in a long time ago. Like what? Like happy endings, like second chances, like the idea that maybe I get to have this, have you, and it won't all fall apart. Lena kissed him again, fierce and certain. It's not going to fall apart. We won't let it. Spring came slowly that year, winter reluctant to release its hold. But inside Ethan's house, warmth bloomed. Lena's presence became as essential as air. She was there for the morning chaos of getting Noah ready for school, there for the evening routine of homework and dinner and bedtime stories. She was there for the good days and the hard ones, the moments of pure joy and the frustrating stretches when nothing seemed to go right. She was there, and Ethan couldn't imagine her not being there anymore. In March, Lena's lease came up for renewal. They were lying in bed on a Sunday morning, Noah downstairs watching cartoons, when she mentioned it almost casually. My landlord wants to know if I'm staying another year. Ethan's hand stilled where it had been tracing lazy patterns on her shoulder. What are you going to tell him? I don't know yet. Thought I'd see what you think. His heart hammered. What I think. Lena propped herself up on one elbow, looking down at him. Ethan, I'm here 5 nights a week anyway. I have more stuff at your house than I do at my apartment. Noah asked me last week where my bedroom is, and I didn't know what to tell him because technically I don't have one. But also, I kind of do. Are you? Ethan couldn't quite form the question. I'm saying maybe it doesn't make sense to keep paying rent on a place I barely use. I'm saying maybe we could make this official, if you want, if it's not too soon. Move in with us, Ethan said, the words coming out somewhere between a question and a statement. Is that what you want? Yes, absolutely yes. I want you here all the time, not just most of the time. I want your stuff mixed up with our stuff. I want Noah to have his own room and you to have a real answer when he asks where you sleep. Lena's smile could have powered the whole city. Okay then, I'll tell my landlord no. Just like that? Just like that. They told Noah that evening, presenting it as a question even though they'd already decided. Miss Lena's apartment lease is ending, Ethan explained, and we were thinking maybe she could move in here with us. What do you think about that? Noah looked up from the Lego structure he was building, face thoughtful. Would she have her own room? We could turn the office into a bedroom for her, Ethan offered, though the words felt strange. Lena sleeping down the hall instead of in his bed seemed wrong, but he wasn't sure how to explain their actual arrangement to a 6-year-old. That's silly, Noah said. She already sleeps in your room, Dad. Ethan and Lena exchanged startled looks. I'm not a baby, Noah continued, returning his attention to the Legos. I know she's there in the mornings, and that's okay. She makes good pancakes. So you'd be okay with Miss Lena living here? Lena asked carefully. Yeah, it'd be fun, like having a family. We are a family, buddy, Ethan said, throat tight. I know, but like a bigger family, with Miss Lena in it all the time, not just visiting. Then it's settled, Lena said, reaching over to ruffle Noah's hair. I'm moving in. Cool. Can you help me with this tower? Dad's not very good at Legos. I'm great at Legos, Ethan protested. You're okay at Legos, Noah corrected. Miss Lena's better. Lena laughed and joined Noah on the floor, leaving Ethan to watch them together, his heart so full it ached. This was his life now. This beautiful, unexpected life. The move happened over 2 weekends in April. Lena didn't have much. Her apartment had been furnished, and she traveled light by nature. Mostly books and clothes, kitchen supplies, photographs, and memories. They made space in closets and drawers, reorganized shelves, hung her pictures alongside his. Each box unpacked felt like a promise. Each item finding its place in his house, their house now, added another thread to the fabric they were weaving together. Noah helped enthusiastically, appointing himself the official unpacker of books and demanding to know the story behind every photograph. Who's this? He asked, holding up a picture of a young Lena with an older man who had the same warm eyes. That's my dad, Lena said, pausing in her arrangement of kitchen towels. Your grandpa James. That was taken at my college graduation. Do I have another grandpa now? Noah asked, the question so innocent and hopeful it made Lena's eyes shine with tears. You do, she said. He lives far away, but he's excited to meet you. Maybe we can visit him this summer. Okay, does he like cars? I'll make sure to tell him he should. Ethan watched this exchange from the doorway, struck again by how seamlessly Lena had woven herself into the fabric of their lives. She didn't try to replace what Noah had lost, didn't claim spaces that weren't hers to claim. She just added to what existed, making their small family feel bigger, warmer, more complete. That night, after everything was unpacked and Noah was asleep, Ethan and Lena lay in bed in the dark, exhausted and happy. This is real now, Lena said softly. We live together. We're doing this. Having second thoughts? Not even a little bit. You? Only about 1,000 times a day, Ethan admitted. And then you smile at me or make Noah laugh or just exist in my space, and I remember that I've never been more sure of anything. We're going to be okay, Lena said, lacing her fingers through his. The three of us. We're going to figure it out. Yeah, Ethan agreed. We are. May brought warmth and longer days, and the kind of contentment Ethan had stopped believing existed. Life settled into new rhythms, new patterns. Lena's teaching schedule meant she was home when Noah got back from school, helping with homework and snacks while Ethan finished up at the garage. They ate dinner together every night, the three of them around the table, sharing stories about their days. Weekends became adventures. The zoo, the beach, hiking trails that left them all exhausted and happy. Noah flourished with the stability, with the constant presence of 2 adults who loved him unconditionally. Ethan's mother pulled him aside one Sunday after family dinner, her eyes knowing. You're going to marry that girl, she said. Not a question. Mom, don't even try to deny it. I see the way you look at her, the way she looks at you, the way you all are together. It's only been 6 months, Ethan protested weakly. Your father proposed to me after 3 months. When you know, you know. I'm not Dad. No, his mother agreed. But you're just as stubborn about admitting when something's right. She squeezed his arm. Don't wait too long, sweetheart. Life's too short to waste time being cautious about the good things. The conversation stayed with him, burrowing under his skin. Marriage. The word felt too big, too permanent, but also somehow exactly right. He started noticing rings. Couldn't help it. Saw them in jewelry store windows, in advertisements, on the hands of customers who came through the garage. started mentally calculating what he could afford, what would suit Lena, what would make her eyes light up the way they did when he surprised her with small gestures. But beneath the excitement, fear lurked. What if it was too soon? What if asking would scare her away? What if he was confusing gratitude and contentment with something deeper? He was still wrestling with these questions when June arrived and brought with it a phone call that would change everything. Lena's phone rang during breakfast on a Tuesday morning, an unfamiliar number lighting up the screen. She frowned, excusing herself to answer in the living room. Ethan heard her voice change, heard the sharp intake of breath, the tremor that crept into her words. What? When? Is he... Okay. Okay, I understand. I'll be there as soon as I can. She came back to the kitchen, pale, phone clutched in her shaking hand. Lena? Ethan stood immediately. What's wrong? That was the hospital in Riverside. My dad, he had a stroke. They found him this morning. He's stable now, but they don't know. They can't say if... Her voice broke. Ethan crossed to her, pulling her into his arms. I have to go, she said against his chest. I have to go home. He's alone up there, and he needs... I have to go. Of course, Ethan said immediately. Of course you do. I'll help you pack. How long of a drive is it? 3 hours, maybe more with traffic. Noah appeared in the doorway, sensing the tension. What's happening? Miss Lena's dad is sick, Ethan explained gently. She needs to go take care of him. Is he going to be okay? Noah asked, eyes wide. I hope so, sweetheart, Lena said, kneeling to his level even though tears were streaming down her face. I really hope so. Within an hour, Lena was packed. Ethan loaded her bags into her car while she made frantic phone calls to her principal, to her father's neighbors, to the hospital for updates. I'll call you when I get there, she promised, standing by her driver's door. I don't know how long I'll be gone. A few days, maybe a week. The doctors said, Don't worry about that now, Ethan interrupted. Just focus on your dad. We'll be fine here. I'm sorry. I know this is sudden, and I'm leaving you with everything. Lena, he took her face in his hands. Your dad needs you. That's what matters. Noah and I will hold down the fort. Just drive safe and call me when you can, okay? She nodded, kissing him hard. I love you. I love you too. Now go. He watched her drive away, her taillights disappearing around the corner. Noah stood beside him, small hand slipping into his. Is Miss Lena going to come back? He asked quietly. The question echoed with old fears, old wounds. Ethan squeezed his son's hand. She's coming back, he said firmly. She just needs to take care of her dad right now. But she's coming back to us. Promise? Promise. But as the days stretched into a week, then 2, Ethan felt that promise becoming harder to keep. Lena called every night, but the conversations grew shorter, more strained. Her father's recovery was slow, complicated by his age and other health issues. He needed round-the-clock care, physical therapy, constant monitoring. I don't know when I can leave, but, Lena admitted one night, her voice exhausted. He doesn't have anyone else, Ethan. It's just me. I know. I understand. Do you? Because I feel like I'm abandoning you and Noah, but I also can't abandon my father. I'm being pulled in 2 directions, and I don't know what to do. You're doing exactly what you should be doing, Ethan assured her. Taking care of family. We miss you like crazy, but we get it. I miss you too. So much it hurts. When's the last time you slept? A pause. I don't remember. Lena, I'm fine. I have to be fine. He needs me. But she wasn't fine. Ethan could hear it in her voice, in the long silences between words, in the way she sometimes forgot what she was saying mid-sentence. Another week passed, then another. June became July. Noah stopped asking when Miss Lena was coming home, and that silence hurt worse than the questions had. Ethan tried to be supportive, tried to understand, but loneliness crept in around the edges of his days. The house felt emptier without her. Breakfast was quieter. Evenings stretched longer. He started to wonder if this was how it would end. Not with a fight or a dramatic breakup, but with slow distance, with circumstances pulling them apart until the space between them became too wide to cross. Then, on a Friday night in mid-July, Lena called with tears in her voice. I can't do this anymore, she said without preamble. I can't be there and here. I can't split myself in half. Ethan's stomach dropped. What are you saying? I'm saying I need to stay here, Ethan. My dad needs me. The doctors say he'll need care for months, maybe longer. I can't leave him, but I also can't keep stringing you and Noah along when I don't know when I'll be able to come back. So you're ending this. The words came out flat, emotionless, protective. I don't want to, but I think I have to. It's not fair to you, waiting for someone who can't give you what you need right now. Lena, please don't make this harder, she whispered. I love you. I love Noah, but I can't be what you need right now, and you deserve better than half of me when I'm 3 hours away and drowning in responsibilities. I can't escape. What if I don't want better? What if I just want you? Then you're not thinking clearly, she said, and he could hear her crying now. I have to go. I'm sorry, Ethan. I'm so sorry. The line went dead. Ethan stood in his kitchen, phone in hand, feeling like the floor had dropped out from under him. This couldn't be happening. They were supposed to be building a life together. She lived here now. Her coffee creamer was in his refrigerator, her books on his shelves, her presence in every corner of his house. She couldn't just leave, but she had. He sank into a chair, head in his hands, and tried to figure out where everything had gone wrong. The silence in the house became oppressive after that call. Ethan sat at the kitchen table until the sky outside turned from dusk to full dark, his phone screen black and mocking in front of him. He kept waiting for it to ring again, for Lena to call back and say she'd made a mistake, that they could figure this out together. But the phone stayed silent. Eventually, he forced himself to move. Noah would wake up tomorrow morning asking about Miss Lena like he did every morning, and Ethan would have to find words to explain why she wasn't coming back. The thought made his chest feel like it was caving in. He climbed the stairs, checked on Noah sleeping peacefully in his room, then stood in the doorway of his own bedroom. Lena's things were still everywhere. Her pillow still smelled like her shampoo. Her book sat on the nightstand, bookmark holding her place like she'd just stepped away for a moment. Ethan couldn't sleep in there. Not tonight. He grabbed a blanket and pillow, went back downstairs, and spent the night on the couch, staring at the ceiling and trying to understand what had just happened. Morning came too soon and too bright. Noah thundered down the stairs at 7, full of energy and questions. Is Miss Lena coming home today? Can we call her? I made her a picture at school yesterday, and I forgot to show her. Ethan sat up, rubbing his face. Buddy, come sit with me for a minute. Something in his voice made Noah's smile falter. He climbed onto the couch, tucking himself against Ethan's side. What's wrong? Miss Lena's dad is still really sick, Ethan said carefully, and she needs to stay there to take care of him for a long time. How long? We don't know yet. But she's coming back, right? When he gets better? This was the moment. Ethan could lie, could protect his son from this hurt a little longer. Or he could tell the truth and let them both start healing. I don't think so, Noah. I think Miss Lena has to stay with her dad now. Noah was quiet for a long moment, processing. Forever? Maybe, yeah. But why? Doesn't she love us anymore? The question shattered something in Ethan's chest. She still loves us, buddy, very much. But sometimes loving someone isn't enough. Sometimes life gets complicated and people have to make hard choices. I don't understand. I don't either, really. Ethan pulled Noah closer. But we're going to be okay. You and me, we're always going to be okay. Noah didn't cry, but his small body stayed tense against Ethan's side. They sat like that for a long time, both of them trying to accept a reality that had shifted too fast, hurt too much. The days that followed were brutal in their normalcy. Ethan went to work, came home, made dinner, helped with homework. The routines continued, but everything felt hollow. He kept expecting Lena to walk through the door, kept setting 3 plates at the table before remembering it was just the 2 of them now. His mother came over that first weekend, took one look at his face, and pulled him into a hug. Oh, sweetheart. I don't want to talk about it, Ethan said against her shoulder. You don't have to talk, but you do have to feel it. Don't bury this, Ethan. But burying it was exactly what he wanted to do. Easier to focus on work, on Noah, on the million small tasks that kept his hands busy and his mind from wandering to the woman who'd promised forever and then disappeared. Except she hadn't really disappeared. She texted sometimes, brief messages asking how Noah was doing, whether they were okay. Ethan kept his responses short and polite. He didn't know how to be anything else with her now. Didn't know how to bridge the gap between what they'd been and what they were now. 2 weeks after the breakup, Noah came home from school with a drawing. 2 stick figures labeled Dad and Me stood in front of a house. Off to the side, separated by a large space, was a third figure labeled Miss Lena. She had a sad face. My teacher said we should draw our families, Noah explained. But I didn't know if Miss Lena was still part of ours. Ethan looked at the picture, at the distance his son had drawn between them and the woman they'd both loved, and felt his careful control crack. Of course she's still part of our family, he said, voice rough. Even if she's not here, she's still part of us. Then why did you put her over there by herself? Because that's where she is now, far away. Noah studied the picture, then carefully drew a line connecting all 3 figures. There. Now she's not alone. That night, after Noah was asleep, Ethan sat in the dark living room and finally let himself grieve. For the future he'd imagined, for the family they'd almost been, for the love that hadn't been strong enough to survive real life's complications. His phone lit up with a text from Lena. How is he? Ethan stared at the message for a long time before responding. Missing you. We both are. The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, I miss you too, every second of every day. Then come home. I can't. You know I can't. I know you won't. That's different. The dots appeared and stayed there for almost a minute. Then, that's not fair. None of this is fair, Lena. You ended this, not me. You gave up. I didn't give up. I made an impossible choice. You chose your dad over us. I get it. Family comes first. But don't act like you didn't have a choice. What was I supposed to do, Ethan? Let him suffer alone? Abandon him when he needs me most? No. But you could have let us help. You could have talked to me instead of just deciding for both of us that this couldn't work. How could it work? You're there, I'm here, and I don't know when that's going to change. How long was I supposed to ask you to wait? As long as it took, Ethan typed back. I would have waited. I would have figured it out. But you didn't even give me the chance. The dots appeared, then disappeared. No response came. Ethan threw his phone onto the couch cushion and stood, pacing the room. Anger felt better than sadness, more productive than the hollow ache that had taken up residence in his chest. He was angry at Lena for leaving, angry at her father for getting sick, angry at himself for not fighting harder when she'd called to end things. But mostly he was angry because he understood. If Noah needed him, if his son was sick or hurt or in trouble, Ethan would drop everything too. Would make the same impossible choice Lena had made. Family came first, always. That understanding didn't make it hurt any less. July bled into August. Noah started soccer practice, a welcome distraction that filled evenings with drills and scrimmages. Ethan threw himself into work, taking on extra jobs, staying late at the garage until exhaustion made sleep possible. His mother worried. His sister called weekly to check on him. Even his regular customers noticed something was off, asking if everything was okay in that careful way people did when they suspected it absolutely wasn't. I'm fine, Ethan told everyone. Just busy. He wasn't fine. He was functioning, which wasn't the same thing at all. Late one night in mid-August, after a particularly brutal 14-hour shift, Ethan came home to find Noah still awake, sitting at the kitchen table with crayons scattered everywhere. Buddy, what are you doing up? It's past 10. I couldn't sleep, Noah said, not looking up from his drawing. I was thinking about Miss Lena. Ethan's heart sank. Yeah? Do you think she thinks about us? I know she does. Then why doesn't she call anymore? Because talking was too hard, because the distance was too painful, because they were both trying to move on and failing spectacularly. Ethan didn't say any of that. Sometimes when people care about each other a lot, it hurts to talk, he said instead, like pressing on a bruise. That's dumb. Yeah, it kind of is. Noah finally looked up, and Ethan was struck by how much older his son looked. When had that happened? When had Noah stopped being a little kid and started carrying the weight of adult hurt? I made her something, Noah said, pushing a piece of paper across the table. for when she comes back. Noah, I know you said she's not coming back, but I think maybe she will, when her dad gets better. So I'm making her a welcome home card. The drawing showed their house with all three of them in front of it, holding hands. Hearts floated in the sky above them. In Noah's world, love was still simple. Love meant coming home. Ethan wished desperately that his son was right. That's really nice, buddy. I'm sure she'll love it. Can we send it to her? Maybe we should wait until it's finished. It is finished. Then let's add it to the pile with your other drawings. Okay? Now come on, bedtime. For real this time. He tucked Noah in, endured the questions about whether Miss Lena was reading bedtime stories to her dad, whether she missed them as much as they missed her, whether love could survive being apart. I don't know, Ethan admitted to that last question. I really don't know. After Noah finally fell asleep, Ethan went back downstairs and looked at the drawing again. His son's faith in happy endings felt like both a blessing and a curse. Noah believed Lena would come back because in his experience, people who loved you didn't leave forever. But Ethan's experience was different. His experience said that sometimes people left and never came back, that love wasn't always enough, that wanting something badly didn't make it true. He picked up his phone, typed out a message to Lena before he could stop himself. Noah made you a card. He thinks you're coming back when your dad gets better. I didn't have the heart to tell him that's not how this works. The response came faster than he expected. How does it work, Ethan? Because I don't know anymore. I don't know anything except that I'm exhausted and lonely, and I miss you so much I can barely breathe sometimes. Then come home. I can't. Can't or won't? Both, neither, I don't know. A pause, then, he's getting better, slowly. The doctors are cautiously optimistic, but he'll need months of rehab, constant monitoring. And I'm all he has. You're all we have too, Ethan typed, then deleted it. Too manipulative, too unfair. Instead, I'm glad he's improving. Are you really, or are you angry at me for staying? Both, Ethan admitted. I'm glad your father is okay, and I'm angry that you chose him over us without even discussing it. There was nothing to discuss. He needed me. So did we. So do we. The dots appeared and disappeared several times. Finally, I can't have this conversation right now. I'm sorry. You're always sorry, Lena, but sorry doesn't fix anything. He regretted the message immediately, but it was too late. The damage was done. No response came, and eventually Ethan put his phone away and went to bed, feeling hollowed out and mean. September arrived with the promise of fall and a new school year. Noah started first grade with a teacher who wasn't Lena, in a building where he wouldn't randomly run into her in the hallways. Small mercy, maybe. Less painful than constant reminders. Ethan's routine solidified into something manageable. Wake up, get Noah ready, drop him at school, work all day, pick Noah up, dinner, homework, bedtime, repeat. Weekends involved soccer games and grocery shopping and all the mundane tasks of single parenting that he'd been doing for years before Lena. He should have been used to this. Should have slipped back into his old life like putting on a familiar jacket. But everything felt wrong now. He'd had a taste of something different, something better, and losing it left him hollow in ways he'd never been hollow before. His mother finally confronted him on a Sunday afternoon when she came over to watch Noah's soccer game. You can't keep living like this, she said, watching him from the bleachers with worried eyes. Like what? Like a ghost. You're going through the motions, but you're not really here. I'm here. I show up every day. Showing up isn't the same as living, Ethan. You're hurt, and you have every right to be, but you can't let this break you. I'm not broken. You're getting there. She squeezed his hand. Have you talked to her? Really talked to her? What's there to talk about? She made her choice. Did she? Or did she make the only choice she thought she could make? There's a difference. Ethan watched Noah on the field, chasing the ball with determination that exceeded his skill. His son was resilient, bouncing back from disappointment with the elasticity of childhood. Ethan envied that flexibility, that ability to bend without breaking. What am I supposed to do, Mom? Drive up there and demand she come back? Tell her to abandon her father? That's not who I am. No, but you could tell her how you feel. Tell her you're willing to work through this if she is. Give her a choice. instead of just accepting her decision. She ended it. That's a pretty clear decision. Or it was a scared decision, a decision made under impossible pressure when she thought she was protecting you from her mess. His mother turned to face him fully. Ethan, that girl loved you. Loves you probably, if the way she looked at you was any indication. People don't stop loving someone in a couple of months. Then why did she leave? Because sometimes love means making hard choices. Sometimes it means letting go of what you want because you think it's what's best for everyone else. You should understand that better than anyone. The truth of that hit hard. How many times had Ethan made choices based on what was best for Noah rather than what he wanted? How many opportunities had he passed up? Relationships had he avoided? Chances had he missed because protecting his son came first? I don't know if I can do it again, he admitted quietly. Let someone in, trust that they'll stay, believe in something bigger than just me and Noah. I barely survived losing her the first time. Then don't lose her. Fight for her. Show her that you're not going to run just because things got hard. She's the one who ran, Mom. Did she? Or did you let her go without a fight because it was easier than risking more hurt? Ethan didn't have an answer to that. That night, after Noah was asleep, Ethan pulled out his laptop and looked up the drive to Riverside. 3 hours and 17 minutes, according to the GPS. He could leave early Saturday morning, be there by 9, say what needed to be said, and be home before Noah even noticed he was gone. The idea terrified him. What if Lena didn't want to hear it? What if she'd moved on, decided this breakup was for the best? What if showing up made everything worse? But his mother's words echoed in his head. Had he really fought for Lena, or had he just accepted her decision because fighting meant risking rejection? He closed the laptop without making a decision, but the idea stayed with him, burrowing into his thoughts like a splinter. Friday night, Ethan was closing up the garage when his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. Hello? Ethan, it's James, Lena's father. Ethan straightened, surprise flooding through him. Mr. Brooks, is everything okay? Is Lena's fine. Well, no, that's not true. She's not fine at all, which is why I'm calling. I don't understand. She's killing herself taking care of me, James said bluntly. Won't sleep, barely eats, hovers like I'm going to keel over any second. The doctors say I'm doing well, that I could manage with a home health aide at this point, but she won't hear of it. Why are you telling me this? Because she's miserable, son. And I suspect you are too, if the way she cries when she thinks I'm asleep is any indication. Ethan's throat tightened. Mr. Brooks, James, and let me finish. My daughter is the most stubborn person I've ever met, which she gets from her mother. When she decides something is her responsibility, she won't let anyone else carry the weight. She thinks she has to do everything herself, has to be strong enough for everyone. She does, Ethan said quietly. That's exactly what she thinks. Which is why she needs someone to tell her she doesn't. Someone to show her it's okay to ask for help, to lean on people, to not carry everything alone. I tried. She pushed me away. Did you try hard enough? James asked, not unkindly. Or did you let her push you away because it was easier than fighting? The same question his mother had asked. Ethan felt the weight of it settle over him. I don't know, he admitted. Then maybe it's time to figure it out. Because I love my daughter, and I'm grateful she came when I needed her. But I don't want her sacrificing her whole life for me. She deserves better than that. What do you want me to do? Come talk to her. Make her listen. Don't let her hide behind me as an excuse. Well, what if she really doesn't want this anymore? What if it's not just about you? Then at least you'll know, James said. At least you'll have tried. But I don't think that's what you'll find. I think you'll find a woman who's scared and exhausted and convinced she's doing the right thing by staying away. After the call ended, Ethan sat in his truck in the empty garage parking lot, engine off, hands gripping the steering wheel. His mother was right. James was right. He hadn't really fought for Lena. He'd accepted her decision, nursed his hurt feelings, and let pride and fear keep him from trying harder. But what if trying meant getting hurt again? What if he drove 3 hours only to have her confirm that she'd moved on, that this really was over? What if he didn't try and spent the rest of his life wondering what might have happened if he'd been brave enough to fight? The choice crystallized in that moment. He could play it safe, protect himself and Noah from potential pain, live a careful life that never risked too much. Or he could be honest about what he wanted and fight for it, even if fighting meant vulnerability and potential heartbreak. Ethan pulled out his phone, called his mother. "Can you watch Noah tomorrow? All day?" "Of course. What's going on?" "I'm going to Riverside." He could hear the smile in her voice. "It's about time." Saturday morning dawned clear and cool, the first real hint of fall in the air. Ethan dropped Noah at his mother's house at dawn, ignoring her knowing looks and accepting her hug without comment. The drive to Riverside felt endless and too short all at once. Ethan's mind raced with everything he wanted to say, speeches he composed and discarded, arguments he built and demolished. By the time he pulled into Riverside city limits, he still didn't know exactly what he was going to say. He just knew he had to try. James had texted him the address earlier that morning. The house was a small ranch-style home in an older neighborhood, well-maintained but showing its age. Lena's car sat in the driveway. Ethan parked on the street, killed the engine, and sat there for a full minute, gathering courage. Then he got out, walked up the driveway, and knocked on the door before he could talk himself out of it. Footsteps approached. The door opened. Lena stood there in yoga pants and an oversized sweatshirt, hair piled on top of her head, no makeup, exhaustion written in every line of her face. She looked thinner than he remembered, dark circles under her eyes, but still beautiful in the way that made his chest ache. Her eyes went wide. "Ethan, how did you—" "Your dad called me," he said. "Can we talk?" Lena stared at him like he was a ghost, her hand still gripping the door frame. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then her face crumpled, and she stepped back, opening the door wider. "I can't believe he called you," she said, voice shaking. "I'm going to kill him." "Don't be mad at him. He's worried about you." "You shouldn't have done this. You drove 3 hours, Ethan. You should have called first. I could have told you not to come." "Would you have told me not to come?" She looked away, arms wrapping around herself. "Probably. That's why I didn't call." From somewhere in the house, a voice called out. "Lena, who's at the door?" "It's fine, Dad," she called back, then lowered her voice. "He's in the living room. Physical therapy wore him out this morning." "Come in, but we should talk outside. There's a porch in the back." Ethan followed her through the house, catching glimpses of a comfortable home filled with photographs and worn furniture. They passed through a living room where an older man sat in a recliner, legs elevated, watching television. He looked up when they entered, and Ethan recognized James from the photos Lena had shown him months ago. Thinner now, moving carefully, but his eyes were sharp and knowing. "You must be Ethan," James said, muting the TV. "Good to finally meet you in person." "You too, sir." "James. And don't let my daughter convince you this was a wasted trip. She needs someone to talk sense into her." "Dad," Lena said, warning in her voice. "What?" "It's true. You've been miserable for months. I'm taking him to the back porch. Do you need anything? I need you to stop hovering and have an actual conversation with this man." James waved them off. "Go. I'll be fine for 20 minutes. Lena led Ethan through the kitchen and out a sliding glass door to a small covered porch overlooking a neglected garden. The morning sun filtered through trees that had started turning gold and red, and the air carried the crisp bite of early September. They stood on opposite sides of the porch, the distance between them feeling like miles. "You look exhausted," Ethan said finally. "I'm fine." "Lena, when's the last time you slept through the night?" "I don't know." "When's the last time you didn't look at me like I broke your heart?" The words hung in the air between them, sharp and true. "You did break my heart," Ethan said quietly. "You broke Noah's too. He made you a welcome home card because he still thinks you're coming back." Lena's face crumpled. Please don't tell me things like that." "Why not?" "It's the truth." "Because it makes this harder, and this is already impossible." "What's impossible? Loving someone? Being loved back? Having people who want you in their lives? Wanting something and being able to have it are two different things." Lena turned away, gripping the porch railing. "You shouldn't have come here, Ethan. What did you think would happen? That you'd show up and I'd just abandon my father and come home with you?" "No, I thought I'd show up and we'd have an actual conversation instead of you making decisions for both of us and then disappearing." "I didn't disappear. I told you why I had to stay." "You told me you were ending things. That's not the same as talking through our options." There weren't any options, Lena said, frustration bleeding into her voice. My father needed round-the-clock care. Someone had to be here. What was I supposed to do? Let me help. Let us figure it out together. Instead, you decided alone that this couldn't work and cut me out completely. I was protecting you. From what? From this, Lena said, gesturing around them. From months of uncertainty and long-distance phone calls and me being torn between two places I needed to be. From watching me fall apart trying to hold everything together, you and Noah deserve better than that. Don't tell me what I deserve, Ethan said, stepping closer. You don't get to decide that for me. Someone had to make a decision. You have Noah to think about. I couldn't ask you to put your life on hold indefinitely while I dealt with my family crisis. You didn't ask. That's the problem. You just assumed I couldn't handle it, that Noah and I couldn't handle it, and you made the choice without giving me any say. Lena finally turned to face him, tears streaming down her face. What did you want me to do, Ethan? Really? My father had a stroke. He couldn't walk, couldn't feed himself, couldn't be left alone for more than an hour. The doctors said he needed constant care and supervision. I'm all he has, his only child, his only family. I know that, and I would never ask you to abandon him. Then what are you asking? I'm asking why you thought you had to choose, why you thought loving me and taking care of your father were mutually exclusive. Because they are, Lena said, voice breaking. I can't be there for you and Noah when I'm 3 hours away dealing with medical emergencies and physical therapy appointments and insurance companies that won't return my calls. I can't be a partner to you when I'm barely keeping my own head above water. Who said you had to do it alone? I've always done it alone. That's how it works. Ethan moved closer, close enough to see the exhaustion written in every line of her face, the weight she'd been carrying by herself for months. It doesn't have to work that way, not with me. You don't understand, but then help me understand. Talk to me instead of pushing me away. Lena sank into a porch chair like her legs couldn't hold her anymore. I'm so tired, Ethan. I'm tired all the time. Dad's doing better, so much better than the doctors expected, but he still needs help with everything. Getting dressed, making meals, remembering his medications. And the physical therapy is brutal, watching him struggle to relearn things he's done his whole life. I help him 3 times a day with exercises that hurt him, that make him frustrated and angry, and I have to stay positive and encouraging when I want to cry. Ethan pulled up a chair facing hers, their knees almost touching. That sounds impossibly hard. It is. And on top of that, I'm trying to coordinate with his doctors, manage his care team, deal with his insurance, keep the house running, make sure he's eating properly, sleeping, not getting depressed. And every single day I think about you and Noah, about what I gave up, about whether I made the right choice. She looked at him, eyes red and swollen. I miss you so much it physically hurts. I miss Noah's laugh and your terrible jokes and feeling like I belonged somewhere. But I can't go back, Ethan. I can't abandon my father, and I can't ask you to wait for me when I don't know how long this will take. What if I want to wait? For how long? 6 months? A year? 2 years? How long before you resent me for putting you on hold? How long before Noah stops asking about me because it hurts too much to miss someone who's never coming back? Is that what you think? That you're never coming back? Lena wiped at her tears roughly. I don't know what I think anymore. All I know is that I made a choice, and I have to live with it. You made a choice out of fear, Ethan said. Out of guilt and exhaustion and feeling like you had to shoulder everything yourself. But that's not the same as making the right choice. How would you know? Because I've done the same thing. When Noah's mom left, I decided I had to do everything alone. That asking for help was weakness, that letting people in meant risking them leaving again. I built walls so high nobody could climb them, and I convinced myself it was for Noah's protection, when really it was for mine. That's different. How? Because you were protecting your son from more hurt. That's noble. And you're protecting your father. That's noble too. But somewhere along the way, you stopped protecting him and started punishing yourself. Lena flinched like he'd hit her. That's not fair. Maybe not. But it's true. You're drowning yourself in guilt because your dad got sick and you weren't here. Because your mom died and you couldn't save her. Because you think if you just sacrifice enough, work hard enough, suffer enough, You can somehow make up for things that were never your fault in the first place. You don't know what you're talking about, don't I? You told me about your mom, Lena, about how you were away at college when she had the aneurysm, how you didn't get to say goodbye. You've been carrying that guilt for 5 years, convinced that if you'd been there, if you'd called more often, if you'd visited that weekend instead of staying at school, somehow it would have been different. Stop. But it wouldn't have been different, and your mom wouldn't want you destroying yourself trying to make up for something that was never your responsibility. You don't know what she would have wanted, Lena said, voice sharp with anger now. You didn't know her. You're right, but I know you. And I know that the woman I fell in love with wouldn't want to spend the rest of her life making decisions based on fear and guilt. The woman you fell in love with doesn't exist anymore. She's gone. I don't believe that. Then you're a fool. Lena stood abruptly, putting distance between them again. You drove 3 hours to tell me I'm punishing myself and making bad decisions based on trauma. Congratulations, Ethan. You've done your intervention. You can go home now feeling like you tried. I didn't come here to lecture you. Then why did you come? Because I love you, Ethan said, standing to face her. Because I miss you. Because I think we gave up too easily and I want to fight for what we had. We can't have what we had. That's over. It doesn't have to be. How? Lena demanded, frustration and exhaustion and heartbreak all bleeding together in her voice. Tell me how we make this work, Ethan. Give me a solution that doesn't involve me abandoning my father or you putting your entire life on hold indefinitely. We figure it out together. We get your dad a home health aide like his doctors recommended. We set up a care schedule that gives you breaks. We let other people help instead of you trying to do everything yourself. He doesn't want strangers in his house. Have you asked him? Or did you decide for him the same way you decided for me? The words landed like a slap. Lena's mouth opened, closed. I didn't ask him, Ethan pressed. Right now, ask your father if he wants you to sacrifice your whole life to take care of him. I'm not asking him that. It's manipulative. It's honest, and I think you're scared of what he'll say. They stared at each other, the air between them crackling with tension and unspoken truths. Finally, Lena turned and went back inside. Ethan followed, his heart pounding. James looked up from his book when they entered the living room, taking in their tear-stained faces with a knowing expression. Dad? Lena said, voice tight. Ethan seems to think I should ask you about getting a home health aide. About time, James said calmly. I've been suggesting that for weeks. Lena froze. What? Lena, sweetheart, I love you. I'm grateful beyond words that you came when I needed you. But I never asked you to put your whole life on hold for me. You needed someone. I needed help. Not a full-time nurse who never sleeps and barely eats and looks like she's about to collapse from exhaustion. James set his book aside. Come sit down. Lena moved to the couch like she was walking through water. Ethan stayed standing, giving them space but close enough to hear. The doctors cleared me for home health care a month ago, James continued. Someone to come a few hours a day, help with exercises, make sure I'm taking my medications properly, but you wouldn't hear of it. Because I wanted to take care of you myself. You're my father, and you're my daughter, which means I want you to be happy. And you haven't been happy since you got here. He reached over and took her hand. Baby girl, I know you think you have to make up for not being here when your mom died, but you couldn't have saved her. Nobody could have. And you can't spend the rest of your life trying to earn redemption for something that was never your fault. Lena's face crumpled. She died alone, Dad. She was alone when it happened, and I should have been there. She wasn't supposed to die at all. We were supposed to have decades more together, but we didn't, and that's nobody's fault. It just is. James squeezed her hand. Your mom would be furious with you right now. You know that, right? She'd tell you to stop being stubborn and go live your life. I am living my life. You're existing. There's a difference. He glanced at Ethan. From what this young man tells me, you had a pretty good life back home. A job you loved, a man who loves you, a little boy who thinks the world of you. That sounds worth fighting for. It's not that simple. It is that simple. You're making it complicated because you think suffering proves love. But it doesn't. Being here, helping me recover, making sure I had what I needed, that proved love. Destroying yourself in the process doesn't prove anything except that you're stubborn as hell. Despite everything, Lena laughed weakly. I get that from you. I know, which is why I'm telling you directly. Hire the home health aide, set up a schedule, go back to your life. But what if you need me? Then you're 3 hours away instead of across the country. You can visit on weekends. We can talk every day. I'll be fine, Lena. I'm getting stronger every week. In another month or two, I might not even need the aid anymore. You don't know that. And you don't know that I'll fall apart without you hovering 24/7. Give me some credit. I survived 63 years before this stroke. I think I can manage with professional help and regular check-ins from my daughter. Lena looked between her father and Ethan, emotions warring across her face. I don't know if I can do this. Let go. Trust other people to take care of you. What if something happens? Then we deal with it, James said simply. But you can't put your life on hold forever waiting for potential disasters. That's not living, sweetheart. That's hiding. I'm not hiding. Aren't you? Seems to me you're using me as an excuse to avoid making hard choices. Easier to stay here and play martyr than go back and fight for what you want. Dad, am I wrong? Because from where I'm sitting, you're terrified. Terrified of being happy and having it ripped away again like it was with your mom. So you're sabotaging yourself preemptively, pushing away good things before they can hurt you. The accuracy of that assessment left Lena speechless. Ethan watched her process it, saw the moment the truth of it landed. I am terrified, she whispered finally. I'm terrified of going back and having it not work, terrified of trying again and failing, terrified of hurting Ethan and Noah worse than I already have. That's understandable, James said, but you know what's worse than being scared and trying anyway, being scared and giving up without a fight. Lena looked at Ethan, her eyes searching his face for something she couldn't quite name. What if I come back and it's not the same? What if too much has changed? Ethan crossed to the couch, crouching in front of her so they were eye level. Then we figure out what it is now. But we figure it out together. No more making decisions alone. No more pushing each other away when things get hard. We're honest, we communicate, and we fight for this. Together. I don't know if I can do that. Trust that you'll stay, that it won't all fall apart again. I don't know if I can either, Ethan admitted. You scared the hell out of me when you left, Lena. Made me doubt everything. But I'd rather be scared with you than safe without you. And I think you feel the same way. I do, she said, tears flowing freely now. I miss you so much. I miss Noah. I miss our life together, but I'm so afraid of screwing it up again. We both will probably screw it up sometimes. That's part of being human. But we can screw it up together and fix it together instead of running away when it gets hard. James cleared his throat. For what it's worth, I like him. He's got guts showing up here, and he's saying all the things you need to hear. But Dad, this is not helpful. I'm just saying, if you let this one get away, you're an idiot. Despite everything, Lena laughed through her tears. I love you, but please stop talking. Fair enough. I'll go take a nap and give you two some privacy. James stood carefully, using his cane for balance. But Lena, don't make this harder than it needs to be. Life's too short, and good men are too rare. He shuffled off toward his bedroom, leaving them alone in the living room. The silence stretched, heavy with everything unsaid. I'm sorry, Lena said finally. For all of it. For pushing you away, for not trusting you to help, for making decisions without you. You deserved better than that. We both made mistakes. I should have fought harder when you tried to end things. Should have called more, driven up here sooner, not let pride and hurt keep me away. You're here now. That's what matters. I'm here now, Ethan agreed. And I'm not leaving until we figure this out. What if figuring it out takes time? Then we take time, but we take it together. Lena studied him for a long moment, then reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were cold, trembling slightly, but her grip was firm. I want to come home, she said quietly. I want to be with you and Noah. But I need time to set things up here first. Get Dad situated with professional care, make sure he's stable, set up a schedule for visits. How much time? A few weeks? Maybe a month? I know that's asking a lot. It's not asking too much. It's being responsible and making sure your father is taken care of. I can wait a month if I know you're coming back. You're sure? Because Noah will be thrilled. He never stopped believing you'd come home. Fresh tears spilled down Lena's cheeks. I don't deserve him, either of you. Yes, you do. You deserve to be loved and to let yourself be loved. You deserve to be happy, Lena. Your mom would want that for you. I know, she whispered. I know she would. Ethan pulled her into his arms, and she collapsed against him, weeks of exhaustion and heartbreak finally breaking through her careful control. She cried hard, body shaking with sobs, and he held her through all of it, one hand in her hair, the other wrapped around her back. I've got you, he murmured. I'm not going anywhere. Promise? Promise. We're going to figure this out. All of it. Together. They stayed like that for a long time, wrapped up in each other while the morning sun climbed higher in the sky outside. Eventually, Lena's tears slowed, then stopped. She pulled back, wiping her face with her sleeves. I must look terrible. You look beautiful. Exhausted and heartbroken, but beautiful. You're biased. Absolutely. Ethan cupped her face in his hands, thumbing away the last of her tears. When you come home, we're going to have some serious conversations about communication and not making major decisions alone. I know. I promise I'll be better about that. And you're going to let me help when things get hard instead of trying to carry everything yourself. I'll try. It's not my natural instinct, but I'll try. That's all I'm asking. Just try. We'll figure out the rest as we go. Lena kissed him then, soft and tentative at first, then deeper, more certain. It felt like coming home after a long journey, like finding something you'd thought was lost forever. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were smiling. I should probably make some calls, Lena said. Start looking into home health agencies, set up a meeting with Dad's care team. Want help? Yes. But first, do you have time to stay for lunch? I think Dad would like to get to know you better. I'd like that too. They spent the afternoon together, the three of them around James's dining table, eating sandwiches and talking. Ethan learned about Lena's childhood, about her mother who'd been a teacher like her, about the garden they'd planted together that Lena had let fall into disrepair. We could fix it up, Ethan suggested. When I visit on weekends while you're still here, give you something to work on together during physical therapy breaks. James perked up. You know anything about gardening? Not really, but I'm good at following directions and manual labor. Then you're hired. Lena's been after me to get it cleaned up, but she's too busy hovering to actually do it. I don't hover, Lena protested. Both men looked at her. Okay, fine, I hover a little. The conversation flowed easily, naturally, and Ethan could see where Lena got her warmth, her kindness, her stubborn insistence on taking care of everyone else. James was funny and sharp, clearly devoted to his daughter, and equally clearly concerned about her well-being. Take care of her, James said to Ethan later when Lena had gone to make coffee. She acts tough, but she bruises easily. I will, and I'll make sure she takes care of herself too. Good luck with that. She's stubborn as a mule. So I've noticed. Evening came too soon. Ethan had to get back, had to relieve his mother and get home to Noah. Lena walked him to his truck, their fingers intertwined. Thank you for coming, she said, for fighting for us when I was too scared to fight for myself. We're not done fighting. This is just the beginning. I know, but it's a good beginning. The best. Ethan kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. Call me tonight? Every night until I'm home. And you'll let me know what you need? If I can help with anything from there? I promise. No more doing everything alone. He climbed into the truck, started the engine. Lena stood in the driveway, arms wrapped around herself against the cooling evening air, watching him. I love you, she called. I love you too. See you soon. The drive home felt different than the drive there. Lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted. Ethan called his mother from the road, told her he'd be another hour, listened to her excited questions about how it went. She's coming home, he said, in a few weeks. We're going to figure this out. I knew you would. I'm so happy for you, sweetheart. When he finally pulled into his mother's driveway, Noah came running out, launching himself into Ethan's arms. Did you see Miss Lena? Is she okay? Did you tell her I made her a card? I saw her. She's okay. And yes, I told her about the card. Is she coming home? Ethan knelt so he was eye level with his son. Yeah, buddy, she's coming home. In a few weeks, after she makes sure her dad is all set up with help. But she's coming home to us. Noah's face split into the biggest smile Ethan had seen in months. Really? For real this time? For real this time. Can I call her? Let's wait until we get home, okay? It's late and she's had a long day. But tomorrow, we can call her together. That night, after Noah was asleep, Ethan's phone rang. Lena's face filled the screen and his heart did that stupid flutter it always did when he saw her. Hi, she said when he answered. Hi yourself. I called 3 home health agencies. 2 can do consultations next week. That's fast. Yeah, and I talked to Dad's care coordinator. She thinks we can have someone in place within 2 weeks if everything goes smoothly. So you could be home by early October? Middle of October, maybe? I want to make sure everything's solid before I leave. But yes, I'm coming home, Ethan. Really home this time. Noah's already planning your welcome home party. Lena laughed, the sound lighter than he'd heard in months. Tell him I'm planning it too, in my head, every single day. They talked until nearly midnight, making plans, sharing hopes, rebuilding the bridge between them, one conversation at a time. When they finally hung up, Ethan lay in bed staring at the ceiling, a smile on his face for the first time in months. It wasn't going to be easy. There would be hard conversations ahead, adjustments to make, trust to rebuild. But they were going to do it together, and that made all the difference. The next 3 weeks moved in a blur of phone calls, planning, and careful steps forward. Ethan drove to Riverside every weekend, spending Saturdays working on James's garden, while Lena coordinated with home health agencies and physical therapists. Noah came along on the 3rd visit, clutching his welcome home card and a new drawing he'd made specifically for Grandpa James. This is you walking without the cane, Noah explained seriously, showing James a stick figure with arms raised triumphantly. Because Miss Lena says you're getting really strong. James's eyes went suspiciously bright as he studied the drawing. This is the best present anyone's ever given me, son. I'm going to hang it right here on the refrigerator. I'm not your son, Noah said matter-of-factly. But Miss Lena says maybe I could be your grandson someday. Is that okay? The adults all froze. Lena's face went scarlet. Ethan felt his heart stop and restart. James recovered first, a slow smile spreading across his face. I think that would be just fine. Better than fine, actually. Cool. Can I help you with your exercises? Dad says I'm a good coach. I'd be honored. Watching Noah patiently count reps while James worked through his physical therapy routine, encouraging him with the same phrases Lena used, Ethan felt something settle deep in his chest. This was what family looked like. Not perfect, not without complications, but real and messy and full of love. Lena slipped her hand into his, squeezing tight. He's incredible, she whispered. You've done such an amazing job with him. We did, Ethan corrected. The last year, that was both of us. I miss so much. All those months I was here. Then we make up for it when you come home. We have time now. By the first week of October, everything was in place. A home health aide named Margaret had been hired, a warm woman in her 50s who came highly recommended and clicked immediately with James. She visited 3 times a week for physical therapy support and medication management. A neighbor's teenage grandson had been enlisted to help with yard work and heavy lifting. James's doctor pronounced him remarkably improved and cleared him to live independently with appropriate support. The last barrier to Lena coming home had fallen away. I'm scared, she admitted to Ethan on a Tuesday night video call. Her face filled his phone screen, and he could see her childhood bedroom behind her, boxes already half-packed. What if we get back and realize too much has changed? What if Noah's moved on and doesn't want me around anymore? What if we can't find the rhythm we had before? Then we find a new rhythm, Ethan said. It doesn't have to be exactly like it was before, Lena. It just has to be ours. When did you get so wise? About 3 months of missing you and realizing that perfect isn't the goal. Being together is the goal. Everything else we can figure out. I love you. Did I mention that today? Twice, but I'll never get tired of hearing it. Good. Because I'm going to say it a lot when I get home. I'm going to say it so much you'll get sick of it. Impossible. They set a date. Saturday, October 15th. Lena would drive home, arrive in time for dinner. It was 2 weeks away, and those 14 days felt simultaneously endless and too fast. Ethan threw himself into preparation. He deep cleaned the house, changed sheets, Made sure Lena's favorite coffee was stocked. Noah helped enthusiastically, offering suggestions about how to make everything perfect. We should get flowers, Noah declared on Wednesday before the big day. Miss Lena likes the yellow ones, the ones that smell good. Roses? No, the other ones, with the funny name. Freesias? Yes, those. We should get a bunch of those. So Ethan bought freesias, and they filled the house with their sweet scent. Noah made another welcome home banner, this one decorated with elaborate drawings of the three of them holding hands. Ethan's mother brought over a casserole for dinner, refusing to let them order pizza for Lena's first night back. This is a special occasion, she insisted. It requires actual food. Friday night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering if Lena was awake too, if she was as nervous as he was. His phone buzzed at 2 in the morning with a text from her. Can't sleep, too excited, too nervous. Is it normal to feel like you're going to throw up from happiness? He smiled and typed back, completely normal. I felt nauseous for days. What if I get there and you've changed your mind? Not possible. What if you get halfway here and realize you've made a terrible mistake? Also not possible. We're both disasters, aren't we? The best kind of disasters. I can't wait to see you tomorrow, to be home, to start over. Not starting over, Ethan wrote. Continuing. We're continuing what we started, just with more wisdom and fewer stupid mistakes. I'll try to make fewer stupid mistakes. Same. Now try to sleep. Big day tomorrow. You too. I love you, Ethan Cole. I love you too, Lena Brooks. Saturday dawned crisp and clear, the kind of October day that promised autumn was settling in for good. Ethan woke early, made coffee, tried not to check his phone every 30 seconds for updates from Lena. She'd texted at 6 that she was leaving Riverside, which meant she'd arrive around 9:30, accounting for traffic and one stop for gas. Noah was up by 7, too excited to sleep late. Is she here yet? When will she be here? Can we call her? She's driving, buddy. We need to let her focus on the road. But I want to talk to her. I know. Just a few more hours. Those hours crawled by with agonizing slowness. Ethan tried to distract them both with breakfast, with cartoons, with a brief trip to the garage to check on a customer's car. Nothing worked. They were both wound tight with anticipation. At 9:15, Lena texted, 15 minutes away. Is it weird that I'm crying? Not weird at all, Ethan replied. We're waiting outside. He and Noah stationed themselves on the front porch, sitting on the steps together. The morning was cool enough to need jackets, and the trees lining their street had turned brilliant shades of red and gold. A perfect day for homecomings. What if she doesn't remember where we live? Noah asked. She remembers. She lived here for months, remember? Yeah, but what if she forgot? Then she'll call and we'll guide her in. Stop worrying. I can't help it. I'm too excited. Ethan wrapped his arm around his son's shoulders, pulling him close. Me too, buddy. Me too. At exactly 9:32, Lena's silver sedan turned onto their street. Noah jumped to his feet, waving frantically, and Ethan stood more slowly, his heart hammering against his ribs. The car pulled into the driveway. The engine cut off. The driver's door opened. And there she was. Lena climbed out, and Ethan was struck all over again by how much he loved her. She wore jeans and a soft gray sweater, her hair loose around her shoulders, and her face was tear-streaked and radiant all at once. Miss Lena! Noah launched himself off the porch, running full speed across the yard. Lena dropped to her knees just in time to catch him, wrapping her arms around his small body and holding on like she'd never let go. Noah, oh, sweetheart, I missed you so much. I missed you too. I made you so many pictures, and I've been practicing my reading so I can show you, and Dad got freesias because I said those were your favorite. They are my favorite. You remembered. I remember everything about you. Lena looked up and met Ethan's eyes over Noah's head. Tears streamed down her face, but she was smiling, that brilliant smile that had first caught him in a parking lot almost a year ago. Ethan walked toward them, unable to stay away any longer. When he reached them, Lena stood, keeping one arm around Noah while reaching for Ethan with the other. Hi, she said, voice shaking. Hi yourself. Welcome home. It's good to be home. So good. He kissed her, soft and certain, a promise sealed. Noah made his usual gagging sound, but this time he was giggling, clearly delighted to have things back to normal. "Can we go inside?" Noah asked. "I want to show you all my pictures, and Nana made dinner even though it's still morning, and your room is all ready." "Our room," Lena corrected gently, looking at Ethan for confirmation. "Our room," he agreed, "if that's what you want." "It's what I want, absolutely what I want." They spent the morning reuniting, Lena exclaiming over every drawing Noah had saved, admiring how much he'd grown, listening to his detailed accounts of everything she'd missed. The soccer season, the new books he was reading, the loose tooth that had finally fallen out. "I saved it for the tooth fairy," Noah said proudly, "and she left me $2 whole." "Wow, that's a rich tooth fairy." "That's what I said," Noah agreed, shooting Ethan a knowing look. Lunch was sandwiches eaten around the kitchen table, the three of them together again like no time had passed at all. Except time had passed, and they'd all changed. Noah was taller, more confident. Lena was quieter, more careful, watching them both like she was memorizing every detail. Ethan felt older somehow, like the last few months had taught him things about love and loss and fighting for what mattered. After lunch, Noah went to his room for quiet time, and Lena and Ethan found themselves alone in the living room. She walked slowly through the space, touching familiar objects, seeing what had changed and what had stayed the same. "You kept my pictures on the wall," she said, pausing in front of a framed photo of the three of them from the summer. "Of course I did. This is your home, Lena. It's been your home since you moved in. That didn't change just because you were gone for a few months." She turned to face him, fresh tears threatening. "I don't know how to do this, how to just slip back into normal life like nothing happened. I feel like I should apologize more, explain more, I don't know. Do something to make up for leaving." "You don't need to make up for anything. You took care of your father when he needed you. That's not something to apologize for. But I hurt you, hurt Noah. I can see it in the way you both look at me sometimes, like you're afraid I'll disappear again." Ethan crossed to her, taking her hands in his. "We are afraid of that. I won't lie. But we're also so happy you're here. Those two things can exist together. We can be healing and happy at the same time. How do we move forward from here? Honestly, we talk about the hard stuff instead of avoiding it. We make decisions together, we ask for help when we need it, and we trust that we're both committed to making this work." "I am committed," Lena said fiercely. "To you, to Noah, to this life we're building. I won't run again, Ethan. Even when things get hard, even when I'm scared, I won't run. And I won't let you carry everything alone. We're a team now, all three of us." "A team," Lena repeated, trying out the word. "I like that." They spent the afternoon in comfortable domesticity. Lena unpacked her car, bringing in boxes of belongings she'd retrieved from storage and things she'd kept at her father's house. Ethan helped her organize, making space in closets and drawers, integrating her life back into theirs. Dinner was the casserole Ethan's mother had brought, and she joined them to eat, hugging Lena hard when she arrived. "Don't you ever scare us like that again," she said, only half joking. "I won't, I promise." The evening passed in warmth and laughter, stories shared and plans made. Lena would return to her teaching position in a week, giving her time to settle back in first. They'd set up a schedule for visiting James, alternating weekends so Lena could check on him regularly without being gone too long. Margaret reported that he was doing well, gaining strength daily, and already planning a visit south for Thanksgiving. "He wants to meet everyone properly," Lena said. "Your mom, your sister, all the people who've been part of this story." "Our story," Ethan corrected. "Because it's not just mine anymore. It's ours." After Ethan's mother left and Noah was tucked into bed, Ethan and Lena finally had a moment alone. They sat on the back porch in the cool October night, wrapped in a blanket together, watching stars emerge in the darkening sky. "I keep thinking I'm going to wake up, and this will all be a dream," Lena said softly. "That I'm still in Riverside, still stuck, still watching you and Noah from a distance." "Not a dream. You're really here." "I'm really here," she agreed, leaning into his warmth. "And I'm not going anywhere." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, the night settling around them. Then Ethan shifted, pulling something from his pocket. "I need to ask you something," he said, and his voice carried a tremor Lena had never heard before. She turned to look at him, and her breath caught when she saw the small velvet box in his hand. "Ethan, let me say this before I lose my nerve. he interrupted gently. The last few months have been the hardest of my life. Losing you, thinking I'd never get you back, realizing how much I'd taken for granted. But they also taught me something important. They taught me that what we have is worth fighting for, worth holding on to, worth building a whole life around. He opened the box, revealing a simple gold band with a modest diamond that caught the porch light and threw tiny rainbows across their hands. I don't want to waste any more time being afraid or careful or protecting myself from potential hurt. I want to choose you every single day for the rest of my life. I want to be your partner through the good stuff and the hard stuff and everything in between. I want Noah to have a mother who loves him, and I want you to have a family that chooses you back. Tears streamed down Lena's face, but she was smiling, that radiant smile that made Ethan's world brighter. Lena Brooks, will you marry me? Yes, she said without hesitation. Yes, absolutely yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger, and it fit perfectly, like it had been waiting for her all along. Then he kissed her, deep and sure, a promise of forever sealed under the stars. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were crying and laughing at the same time. Noah's going to lose his mind, Lena said, looking at the ring on her hand like it might disappear if she blinked. He's been asking when I was going to propose for the last 2 weeks. I had to swear him to secrecy. He knew? He helped pick out the ring, said it had to be pretty but not too sparkly because you're a teacher and you can't wear anything that will distract the kids. Lena laughed through her tears. That's the most Noah logic I've ever heard. He also said to tell you that now you have to stay forever because married people don't leave. He's right. Married people don't leave, and I'm never leaving either of you again. They stayed on the porch until the cold drove them inside, wrapped around each other, making plans and dreaming about the future. A wedding in the spring, maybe in James's garden, after they'd finished restoring it. Something small and intimate, just family and close friends. Noah as ring bearer, of course. Ethan's mother would cry happy tears. James would walk Lena down the aisle or roll himself down it in determination if his recovery required it. We should probably tell people, Lena said eventually, curled up on the couch in Ethan's arms. Your mom, my dad, they'll want to know. Tomorrow, tonight, let's just keep it ours for a little while longer. Deal. They fell asleep there on the couch, wrapped around each other, the ring on Lena's finger catching light from the street lamp outside. When Noah found them in the morning, he took one look at Lena's hand and let out a shriek that probably woke the neighbors. You said yes! Dad, she said yes! I said yes, Lena confirmed, pulling him into a hug. Is that okay with you? Are you kidding? This is the best thing ever. Can I call you Mom now? Lena's breath caught. She looked at Ethan, who nodded encouragingly. I would be honored if you called me Mom, she said softly. So honored. Cool. Mom, can we have pancakes to celebrate? And just like that, their new normal began. Pancakes on Sunday morning, the three of them moving around the kitchen in comfortable chaos. Plans for the day ahead, mundane talk about groceries and laundry and whether Noah needed new shoes. The ordinary magic of family life made precious by how hard they'd fought to have it. The next few weeks brought their own challenges. Lena struggled sometimes with guilt about her father, worried she'd abandoned him even though he called weekly to tell her he was fine and she should stop hovering long distance. Ethan had moments of fear, watching Lena with her packed schedule and wondering if she was taking on too much again. Noah had occasional nightmares about being left behind, needing reassurance that his family was staying together this time. But they worked through each challenge together, talking honestly, asking for help, refusing to let old patterns drag them back into silence and separation. Thanksgiving came with James making the drive south, stronger than anyone had expected. He charmed Ethan's entire family, told embarrassing stories about Lena's childhood, and pulled Ethan aside at one point to shake his hand. You're good for her, James said simply. You make her happy in a way I haven't seen since before her mother died. Thank you for that. She makes me happy too, makes us happy, Noah and me both. Good. That's how it should be. Both people better for being together. They announced the engagement at Thanksgiving dinner, and the celebration was exactly as loud and joyful as expected. Ethan's mother cried. His sister demanded to help plan the wedding. Noah informed everyone proudly that he'd helped pick the ring and was going to be the ring bearer and wear a suit just like his dad. Winter settled in, and with it came a new rhythm to their lives. Lena taught during the week, came home to help Noah with homework, and make dinner with Ethan. Weekends were for family time, soccer games, and movie nights, and visits to see James. They started couples therapy at Lena's suggestion, working through their communication issues and building tools for handling conflict better. "I don't want us to fall apart again," she explained to Ethan after their first session. "I want us to have the skills to weather anything life throws at us." "I want that too, whatever it takes to make sure we stay solid." In February, on a Saturday afternoon with snow falling softly outside, they started planning the wedding in earnest. Lena's friend Claire offered to help coordinate. Ethan's sister volunteered to make the cake. Noah insisted on having a say in everything from the flowers to the music. "It should be our favorite song," he declared, "the one we always dance to in the kitchen." "We don't have a favorite song," Ethan pointed out. "Yes, we do. The one Mom always sings, about sunshine." Lena's eyes went wide. "You've been my sunshine. That one. That's our song." And so it became their wedding song, even though it made Lena cry every time she thought about it. Spring came early that year, March bringing warmth and the first hints of green. James's garden had been transformed over the winter, Ethan making the drive every few weeks to work on it, Noah helping when he came along. By April, it was ready, beds cleared and mulched, pathways repaired. A small arbor built at one end where the ceremony would take place. "Your mother would love this," James said, walking through the space with Lena one weekend. He moved easily now, cane abandoned, his recovery nearly complete. "She always dreamed of having a garden wedding." "Then we're doing it for her too," Lena said, linking her arm through his. "For all of us." The wedding was set for the first Saturday in May, when James's garden would be in full bloom and the weather would be perfect. The guest list stayed small, just 50 people, the ones who mattered most. Lena's teaching colleagues, Ethan's regular customers who'd become friends, family from both sides. 2 days before the wedding, Lena's dress arrived. She tried it on in the bedroom while Noah and Ethan waited downstairs, sworn to not peek. When she came down the stairs, Ethan's breath caught. The dress was simple, elegant ivory lace with a full skirt that swirled when she moved. Her hair was loose, the way he loved it, and she was barefoot, a nervous smile on her face. "Well, what do you think?" "I think you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen," Ethan said honestly. "And I think I'm the luckiest man alive." "You look like a princess," Noah added. "A really pretty princess." "Thank you, sweetheart." Lena did a little spin, and the skirt flared out around her. "I can't believe we're actually doing this." "Having second thoughts?" Ethan asked, only half joking. "Not even a little bit, just overwhelmed by how happy I am." The morning of the wedding dawned perfect and clear. Ethan woke early in his childhood bedroom at his mother's house, tradition having separated him from Lena for the night. He could hear his mother and sister moving around downstairs, could smell coffee and something baking. His phone buzzed with a text from Lena. "Can't sleep, too excited. Is it time yet?" He smiled and responded, 4 more hours, then you're stuck with me forever. Best deal I ever made." The morning passed in a blur of preparations. Ethan getting dressed in his suit, Noah beside him in a miniature version, both of them fumbling with ties until Ethan's mother took over. The drive to Riverside, arriving to find the garden already set up, chairs in neat rows, flowers everywhere. The arbor decorated with ribbons and greenery. Guests began arriving. Ethan greeted them, made small talk, tried not to check his watch every 5 minutes. His sister cornered him at one point, straightening his tie for the 3rd time. "You ready for this?" she asked. "More ready than I've ever been for anything." "Good. Because that woman loves you so much it's almost embarrassing to watch. You two are going to be disgustingly happy." "That's the plan." Music started, a string quartet tucked under a tree. Guests took their seats. Ethan took his place under the arbor with Noah beside him and James officiating. When had that been decided? Ethan couldn't remember, but it felt right. James beaming at him, looking healthy and strong and proud. Then the music changed and Lena appeared at the end of the garden path. She was breathtaking. The dress caught the afternoon sunlight, her hair adorned with simple flowers, and she carried a bouquet of freesias and roses. But it was her face that stopped Ethan's heart, the pure joy radiating from her as she walked toward him. Claire stood as her maid of honor, Ethan's sister as his best woman, but Ethan barely saw them. His entire world had narrowed to the woman walking toward him, to this moment they'd fought so hard to reach. When Lena reached the arbor, James kissed her cheek, then placed her hand in Ethan's. "Take care of each other," he said quietly, for only them to hear. "We will," they promised together. The ceremony was short and sweet, words about love and commitment and choosing each other every day. Ethan barely heard his own vows, too focused on Lena's face, on the tears streaming down her cheeks, on the absolute certainty that this was right. When James pronounced them married and told Ethan he could kiss his bride, the applause was deafening. Ethan pulled Lena close and kissed her while their family and friends celebrated around them. "We did it," Lena whispered against his lips. "We're really married." "Really married," Ethan confirmed. "Forever." Forever sounds perfect. The reception was exactly what they'd wanted. Music and dancing and laughter under the spring sky. Noah proudly telling anyone who would listen that he helped plan everything. James making a toast that had everyone crying and laughing at the same time. Ethan's mother pulling Lena aside to welcome her officially to the family. As evening fell and the party continued, Ethan and Lena snuck away for a moment alone. They stood at the edge of the garden, looking back at their celebration, at all the people who'd helped them reach this moment. "No regrets?" Ethan asked, pulling her close. "Not a single one. You? Only that it took us so long to get here. We got here when we were supposed to, after we learned what we needed to learn." "Like what?" "Like love isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. About fighting for each other even when it's hard. About building something together that's stronger than either of us could build alone." "When did you get so wise?" "About 3 months of missing you and realizing that perfect isn't the goal," Lena said, echoing his words from months ago. "Being together is the goal. Everything else we can figure out." They stood there as the stars emerged overhead, music and laughter drifting from the garden behind them. Their wedding day, the start of their forever, built on truth and trust and love that had survived being tested. "Dance with me?" Ethan asked, offering his hand. "Always." They swayed together in the growing dark, and Lena started singing softly. "You've been my sunshine on the cloudiest days." Noah's voice joined in from nearby, then James's, then others, until half their wedding guests were singing along, creating a moment of pure magic in a garden that had witnessed so much loss and so much healing. This was what love looked like, Ethan thought, holding his wife close while their son danced nearby and their family celebrated around them. Not perfect, not easy, but real and messy and absolutely worth fighting for. "I love you, Lena Cole," he said. "I love you too, Ethan Cole. Forever and always." "Forever and always," he agreed. And there in the garden where Lena's mother had once dreamed of beauty, where James had fought his way back to health, where two broken people had learned to trust again, a family celebrated the beginning of their next chapter. Built on honesty, strengthened by struggle, and absolutely unshakable in their commitment to each other. The music played on, the stars shone bright, and three people who had found each other against the odds danced together into their future, ready for whatever came next, because they'd face it together. And that made all the difference.